So when you move into your apartment, what we would recommend is that first of all you check the X1 Media City Salford information for new tenants guide that will probably be on your kitchen counter. Within that there's an index page that gives you various instances for stuff like lighting, electrical distribution and ventilation. If you don't find what you need in the booklet, then we'd recommend continue watching this video for anything to do with defects or any power losses. So depending on your apartment type, whether you're in a studio, 1 bed, 2 bed or 3 bed, these rooms look slightly different, but what you're looking for is your consumer unit with electrical equipment. Each of these fuse here has an indicated area where it works, and the split panel means that if something on this side trips, it will only take out this RCD. If it's on this side, it'll take out this. So the split panel means that if you have the lights fail, it won't take out everything in your apartment. There's a main switch where the main power comes from, there's a main fuse, and then there's the fuses that run off it. One of the problems you may have when you move in is that the hob's not working. We don't leave the hob switch on purely to stop anyone knocking the switches on the dial when they're working in there. So if your hob isn't working, you turn that on and then check the board. It's recommended that every 3 months you check that the RCDs work. The way to do this is by pressing this yellow switch here and that yellow switch. As you can see, everything's gone off. You would then turn that switch down for the main board, turn it back up again and turn the RCDs back on where everything will come on. It's also worth mentioning that's the electric meter that you'll have to give a reading to your supplier for. It is a digital reading as well, so they can get that offline if need be. And also that's the main switch for everything coming into your apartment. So we turn that off, everything goes off. Turn that back on, everything goes back on.
Don't turn it off.
So within your cupboard there'll be a few spare, not next to the washing machine or the vent axle unit that we'll discuss shortly. This deals with your TV signal, so please do not turn this off, always leave this switch on. So this is your vent axle unit, and this is the system that provides ventilation and extract to your apartment. There's 2 ways of boosting this when you're wanting to get a cleaner airflow in. If you're having a shower, if you're using cooking facilities, you may want to press this button here. That will turn the boost on to 30 minutes. You can press it again to turn it on to 60 minutes, or press it again to turn it off. There's not much more you need to do in the settings in the way of that, and there's a few spare underneath, so if that orange light isn't on, then your vent actually won't be on, and there won't be any ventilation or dirty air extracted out of the apartment. This is your washing machine. It's connected to a water supply at the back. There's a vertical pipe that comes down to a flexible pipe. If the blue tap is pointing vertically, that means the water's on. If it's pointing horizontally, it means the water's turned off, so you just need to turn the water on. As well as that, there's a drainage pipe at the side of the washing machine that's connected with a flexi pipe. That needs to be inside of the pipe for it to drain away. If it isn't, you'll end up with water on the floor. So at the top there's an old-fashioned tap like you'd see outside of a building. That is the main water supply into the building. Then below it you've got the isolator valve to the hot water. There's a few valves that run off that you shouldn't really need to worry about. If there is a problem, you need to call either X1 or a plumber, and you can isolate by the main tap at the top. The hot water in your apartment works off an electric heater, and there's a programming unit for it here. There's a switch for timed and off. When you've got it on timed, that's the only way it's going to work, and it's programmed by pressing these buttons. It'll indicate the settings and times. It should be set to program 9 on the back, which you won't be able to see, but basically means that throughout the day there's a reduced cycle of water when you're not really going to be in your apartment at work times and during the early hours of the night and the morning. And then also in times when you're going to be here, there's more water being supplied, so it's more economically friendly for yourselves. As well as that, the switch here, if that switch isn't on when you move in, this unit won't work, and therefore the hot water won't work, so just make sure that the fuse spare is on. In different rooms in the apartment, you're going to have either a supply or extract valve. In the bathrooms and en-suites, you're going to have an extract one, and an easy way of seeing that this is working is by placing a piece of paper or toilet paper. If it sticks to it, then it means it's working. The way you boost that is by either the unit in the cupboard or by the fan boost in the kitchen. This switch on the outside of your bathroom or your ensuite operates the towel heater. It takes roughly about 20 minutes to heat up. However, you don't want to leave this on after you've finished in the shower and the bath too long, because it will run up your electricity bills quite high. We'd recommend turning it off maybe an hour after having a shower that would be fine. So this is the electric heaters that you'll have in your bedrooms and your living rooms. There's a fuse spare to operate the system, and then a power dial on the side. As well as that, you've got the option of having it on timed, off, or on all the time on full power. If you turn it to timed, by pressing these prongs, you can set a time in the day when you'd like to come on, and by twisting it to allocate the right time of the day. As long as you leave that fuse spare on, it will continue to update the time throughout the day, so it always comes on when you want it to. In the bedroom, there'll be a supply vent. This is different to the extract as it supplies fresh air into the room, so paper will not stick to this. In different rooms in your apartment, there'll be different types of fire alarm detection. All the fire alarms are linked with a main electricity supply, but they have a battery backup if the electricity goes off at the fuse board or the consumer unit. This typical fire alarm detection is a heat detector, so it's placed in your kitchen and lounge, and it won't go off for steam, it will only go off for heat. This is a fire alarm smoke detector, and these are found in your bedroom, the cupboard with your washing machines, and also in the corridors. If the fire alarm was to go off, the easiest way to reset it, by pressing this button, it'll reset the system. If you hold it for 2 to 3 seconds, the fire alarm should go off, unless there's a presence still of smoke and heat. So after checking that the hob's on at the consumer unit, you turn it on at the fuse spur at the wall, and then simply by turning on the hobs, it'll indicate by them glowing red that they come on. So this switch here is a multi-switch. The fan boost, as we said, if you're cooking, you can turn this on to boost the fan from trickle up to a bit more of a pull than the purge on the actual unit itself. And by turning it off, that will switch that off. You've got a switch like the fuse spur for the oven there, and then there's also a switch for the fridge as well. As you can tell by the sound, the fridge is just switched on. There's a future switch for a dishwasher if that's something that you'd like to install. By switching the fan boost off, it'll go back to a trickle, which is its default position for the ventilation. When you turn the oven on for the first time at the switch of the wall, it'll come up with the time. You simply change that by pressing the correct time and the plus button, pressing it again to do the minutes, and that's the program set. Different settings will be in your book, but you need that program to work, the time to work, to allow you to use the settings such as timed and cook and flip settings like this one here.